Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where you might notice that things look a little bit different in terms of our plans here. That is because I just spent, probably 4 hours working on this battle plan. It was intense. There was no doubt about that. There was a lot of ordering and a lot of reorganizing and even some reloading to get the, not really for any advantage or anything, but just to reset it and recreate it and make sure it's all good to go. So there's a lot of stuff to go over here. Now, obviously, as you can see, this is a war on a lot of fronts. And some of these fronts are more critical than others. And so you'll notice there are areas that we really haven't addressed very much, although we probably could, and we may look into that here in a moment. There are a few areas that, honestly, even with all of that preparation, I didn't even touch. Like, for example, South Africa. Honestly, these haven't been called in yet, but once they are called in, we can just grab these territories. Like, we can issue an order like that, and that'll be fine. Now, not all of these will be called in. And there are some up here, yeah, like Tanzania, that's not been called in at all. But I'll just show you kind of, since I never did anything down here, I'll show you what I really did. I set up a few orders. Really, there's not that much to do here, honestly. Only these guys have been called in, from what I can tell. Yeah, both of these are not in the war currently, nor is Republic of Tanzania. Now, Botswana, Zimbabwe, and Tanzania will be called into the war, I'm quite sure. But they're not there yet. So there's really not much to do other than taking over Malawi. And we'll just order that. We already have. But there's... in addition to all of these orders and the restructurings you can see over here, there's also been a lot of orders like this over here, where I gave some specific orders to grab some unguarded land from the Russian Federation that will give us control of the Strait of Gibraltar. There's a lot of little things like that, and we're not going to be going over every single one of those little unit orders because it took me a very long time to get them to be set up, and honestly, I don't even know if I remember them all at this point. It's been very long. Now, you'll notice that this order has been changed. I mostly just consolidated these armies together and let them do their thing. They're going to push in, and we're mostly going to ignore that over there. It's a very minor front of the war right there. Other minor fronts of the war include this up here, where we're trying to push into the Russian Federation. Now, this is only 10 units up here. This isn't going to get very far, and I don't expect it to. All we're trying to do is push out a little bit over here and pull some pressure off of this region up here. You can see we're trying to push in over here. This is just garrison troops pushing in. I don't expect them to gain very much. Same with Sweden. We're trying to push down over this direction. I don't expect them to gain much there either. That's just there to keep some pressure on. Now, we've also got the Polish Republic over here in Czechoslovakia. This is another force of only garrison units that's trying to push into the Polish Republic. We don't expect much from them. Similarly, the force pushing into West Germany, which, by the way, is not yet in the war. Just want to throw that out there. I'm sure the US will call them in fairly soon. Same with France. So you'll notice I've relocated the army that was here, going to push in past the Maginot Line. Yeah, I didn't like that plan. I mean, yeah, we have the majority of the Maginot Line here, but even so, I didn't like this plan. I thought that pushing through this territory was going to be treacherous, and I'd rather push in from the south. So you can see here we have a pretty large force pushing in from the south, and France actually appears to have very few troops. They have a few around, and we don't have much details on what's going on in the center of France, obviously. Our intel is pretty bad. But they have a few troops, and their manpower is actually very low as well. They have, 260 manpower. That was something I noticed while setting all of this up. So I think that France is a weak link here, and so we're going to push pretty hard to try to unify our two European fronts. If we can get France to fall and then take this out of the equation, then we can push up here, and all of this becomes a unified front. Now, there's some territory over here that we're going to lose. I don't think there's any way around that. Similarly, there's some territory in Turkey that we're going to lose. It's okay. We're going to accept that for now. I don't think there's any real way to hold on to that. There might be some territory that we lose in Saudi Arabia as well. I do think that our Siberian holdings will hold fairly well. I also think that our South American holdings will go okay. We might have some losses like over here. We might take some losses up here, perhaps even over here. That's fine for now. Our main strategy here is reduce the number of fronts. And also, you'll notice we have this army here. This is an actual army, not a garrison army, pushing down into Italy. And the reason why that exists is because of this corridor here. This corridor is actually vital to us because we get a lot of steel from right here. So we need to maintain this corridor, so we're going to push in over here and push in West Germany, try to unify these fronts, and that's the overall plan. Now, I'm not going to be running this on speed 5. I'm going to take it down, at least for now, till speed 3, because I want to be able to react to things as they happen. I don't know how this plan is going to work out. It's going to be spicy. Now, you'll notice down here there's been a few changes as well. So this is, as far as I can tell, ungarrisoned. This is ungarrisoned as well, and hello, pause menu, and we almost have Algeria taken over. It's not quite there yet, but you'll notice that we have moved a few things around. And if we look over here, I want to move this field marshal over to this army. I think he'll be more useful there. That's the army that is going to be pushing into France, so that should be fine. And you'll notice only 23 divisions are assigned to this order, so they're working on cleaning that up, and these guys are just kind of guarding the territory. There's also this tank unit over here. This tank unit is responsible for taking over all of this territory. From what I can tell, there's absolutely no one here. Or here. So our goal is to get North Africa under our control as quickly as possible, get that knocked out as a front, and then shift these troops up to France. Knock out France, unify these fronts, get rid of these guys as the next step. And then from there, we're kind of three-fronting it. We push up into Sweden, we push east towards Russia, and south along Italy. But we should have the troop critical mass for that at that point. That's the overall plan. Now the question is, how well does it work? Well, first off, we don't have much war support. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be nukes flying like everywhere during this. So that war support is probably going to go down pretty quick. Now, I think that we should get more propaganda efforts maybe once the day tick happens. I just loaded up the game. So the war propaganda here, I think we should have other war propagandas. I believe that I did in previous attempts. But let's see. This is going to be interesting. So you can see we're winning on some fronts, losing on others. This is to be expected. It's mostly this down here that we're interested in. Now, these guys are pushing in here to drive a wedge between these two zones. So let's see how that ends up going. And like I said, there's just lots of little individual orders that I issued like these over here. And the point behind these is to get this cleaned up as quickly as possible. So fingers crossed on that one. France has now been called in. Now, we were expecting that to happen eventually, and honestly, I think this is a case of sooner is better rather than later. So you can see we're immediately attacking along this front, and we're winning. I do expect France to fall here. France has very little manpower, from what I can tell, very few troops, and they don't seem to have allied troops nearby. So that looks good to me. Now, there's allied troops everywhere, and this is going to be rough. There's no doubt about it. But we are going to proceed here. There's one thing that we need to do, and we need to give this guy orders to come down something like this. Just grab all of these provinces over here, and then just be in position to get out of there. So there's that order issued. Fantastic. Republic of the Sudan. Okay, so is that anything... Sudan is up here, right? Or like up here. Yeah, that's not really anything that we can do anything about at this time. Are these guys in the war? Is Yemen in the war? Not currently. Okay. What about the Trucial states? They are in the war. We're just going to walk in and take Abu Dhabi. Looks like we can do that. Qatar is independent, so that's fine. We can get that squared away. And we may want to think about setting up a front line up here. That's something that I am considering. And of course, we're heading up over this way. So I don't think Botswana joined yet. I didn't notice it. If it did, Zimbabwe, no. Okay. Tanzania, no. Okay. Well, let's proceed here. Algeria should fall fairly quickly. We pocketed these guys as expected, and they will not last very long. So that's great. Again, I'm running this at a slightly lower speed here because I want to be able to react to situations as they unfold. Okay. So far, so good, though. The plan is working. I'm not going to say that the plan has worked until Europe falls. Minus England. We're kind of ignoring England for right now. And yes, I know that that was a mistake in a previous iteration of this war, but that's kind of what we've got to work with. So we're going to push in over here. This looks pretty undefended at this point, and we've stack wiped a lot of these troops. West Germany was just called in, so now this front has opened up. That's okay. We need to maintain this corridor. That is the utmost priority right now. And we need France to fall ASAP. Of course, for that to happen, we need Algeria to fall. And is there anybody set up to go in here? Yes, this guy is. Okay, perfect. Only the one unit needed. That's great. I do want to select the guys on this order. This order is unnecessary, and we're going to assign them over here instead. And we're going to remove that order. And any of those get assigned over here. So is there... Can I select only units without orders? That would be nice, but I'm just going to go through and do it this way, I guess. Let's see, that's 9. Yeah, that's the correct number. We're just going to... I deleted that. We're just going to assign them in over here. And I guess anyone else without orders now needs to also be assigned in over there. So these guys... like that. Then we'll just go ahead and do something like this. There. That'll do. This guy doesn't have orders. These guys should actually be pocketed here. They should not have supplies. So we're going to issue orders to go ahead and start attacking them, like so. Kuwait has been called in. That's fine. Now, I did want to check for war propaganda. Yes, this is good. This is only the bug at this point that is preventing us from doing this. So we want to do decision.no-checks, I think it was. And it costed us 75 political power. So we'll run the war propaganda, and then we will do political power minus 75. Like that. And then turn off decision.no-checks. Because we were bugged with the war propaganda. Now we can't actually run a war propaganda campaign because we are running one against the United States. So that will boost our war support, but not, I think, by a huge amount. So this tank is still on its way over. That's great. In fact, I am going to bump it up at this point to speed 5 because I feel like this is working sufficiently well. We're actually gaining some ground over here, even though I haven't issued orders. I'm okay with that. There are no orders issued over here right now. How are things going in Siberia over here? Okay, we're just holding ground. That's what we want over here for now. Okay. And over here, it looks like it's pretty much a stalemate, although the U.S. has landed over here, you can see, and they're making their way down into Nueve Grande, Colombia. Although it looks like there have been some units that have been pulled out of here, presumably to go to other fronts. So we should expect them showing up fairly soon. That's Zimbabwe coming in. That's these guys. So we're going to immediately have these guys head up, actually, maybe these, head up to Salisbury. And hopefully knock Zimbabwe out of the war immediately. Botswana has not been called in yet. Okay. And we have a allied unit of artillery here. I think I'm just going to assign that to, yeah, this one here, the Central American and Caribbean Coast Guard. So they're going to be responsible for working on that. Now, do we have our paratroopers done yet? Okay. I'm thinking about just canceling these for the manpower. Maybe we'll keep the unit of 8 and cancel the 16. Oh, and our divisions have not had a location set. We'll go ahead and set a division location for that. Fine. Okay. We haven't lost any units just yet, but I would imagine that that would be coming. You can see a decent number of West German ships up here. That's a potential problem for if we want to cross over into Europe. But for now, we'll see how that's going. And yeah, we're expecting nukes kind of flying everywhere. We can't cover everywhere with our air forces. What we do have is solid anti-air guns, but that's not going to stop everything here. So that is good to know. It seems to me like the American Union was just as unprepared to fight on this many fronts as we were. In fact, maybe even less prepared because of our garrison forces. That said, I expect that to change. They outproduce us, they have more manpower than us, so unless we can win in this quick first strike here, unless we can knock out enough of them in this quick first strike, we're going to have a hard time. We are seeing a division here. Okay. But that should be okay. They're not ready yet. We need to finish up in this region, in Africa. That needs to end. So let's take a look at what we've got going on over here right now. I want you to help attack here. You to help attack here. We need to stack wipe these guys. Get in there. I know that your organization is very low. Just walk in here for right now. All we need to do is get them out of supplies. Okay. We have them completely pocketed. And this looks reasonably fine. We're actually winning an Oran here. I'm not going to make any changes. Okay, that's the stack wipe there. Good. Fantastic. That's Oran falling. That should be Algeria going. And we're stack wiping these. Yes. Republic of Algeria has capitulated. What's going on over here in the Trucial states? They haven't capitulated at this time. We're just going to go try to grab those real quick. And we're still pushing our way northward over here. And we're still heading into Salisbury over here. Sounds good. This all looks basically like a stalemate. That's fairly expected. So at this point, we need to wrap up this battle here. There we go. So this army is going to get moved into this army group. They're going to be assigned to the French front here. And they're going to immediately start heading up there. It looks like we're going to be able to sneak through here pretty quickly. So that's great. Republic of Malawi has capitulated. That's very good as well. So there's that done. We're going to go ahead and add this state to the area defense. Not like that's actually going to be all that useful. And is this going to be Salisbury capitulating? Perhaps. Now, I don't think Botswana has been called in yet. Actually, yes, it has. I must have missed that. Okay. That's their victory point gone. I'm going to go grab where this airbase is, just to make sure that we get them to capitulate. Like, these guys over here haven't capitulated yet. It's slightly surprising. Okay, now the Trucial states have capitulated. That's these guys. So we're going to go ahead and tell these, no, not fallback line, go ahead and area defense that as well. Yeah, I know you're going to be stretched really thin. Everybody's stretched thin at this point. So they have managed to get some English troops down over here. It's not shocking, but it is slightly disappointing. We can see 23 divisions are still assigned over here, and this guy, he's still working his way through. So that's fine. This corridor is looking slightly sketchy. Yeah, we actually took losses up over here. That's not great. We're getting pushed back up here. As long as we get France to fall fairly soon, that's fine. I want to make sure that this guy is set to aggressively attack. We need France to fall, and they have very few troops, so get in there as quick as you can. As quick as ever you can. For this guy, he is on aggressively attack, and that's good. We want to push in there. We're grabbing this over here as well. Okay, so Zimbabwe has not yet capitulated. It should soon. In theory. And yeah, this is probably, in all, not going to go super well. Although we have pocketed this American troop. And we should definitely stack wipe them. 100% we should stack wipe them, if possible. That's American manpower that we don't want them to have, quite frankly. I mean, their manpower is higher than ours, I believe. But what it is not is infinite. And they've been fighting a lot of wars recently. Don't know what that battle over there was, but that's fine. We're going to continue to push into France. I am concerned about losing this territory, but I think that we'll get it back. There are nukes falling up here. That's to be expected. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and reissue the orders over here. We're going to put in a front line here with all of them selected. That would usually help. We're going to put in a front line here, and we're going to tell them offensive line like that. Go ahead and execute that. Okay. So there we go, and I want to make sure that this guy... Yeah, this guy's still over here and still doing his thing. Perfect. So we're definitely taking chunks out of France, and that was to be expected. We're having a hard time getting into Republican Italy, and I'm not surprised by that one. Oh, hello. What is this? The Saudalar Dynastic Empire wants to help in our war efforts. I thought we called everybody in, but okay. That's fine. We've got more airborne divisions over here. I'm just going to assign those here for now, and I guess we can tell them to, like, come frontline over against the US. I don't think they'll be particularly successful here, but just try to push in like that. We're not going to use them as paratroopers for the time being. I realize they're not particularly useful in this current setup, but that's fine. Okay, it looks like we have this pocketed, but it's about to fall. That's wonderful. This corridor is widening even as we're losing this territory. Now, we're likely to have some units get stack wiped up here, but they're not particularly valuable units. Okay. So we have pushed in over here. That's great. This guy is being a jerk. Wait, was that just Botswana? No. These guys have not capitulated yet. Zambia is not in the faction. Are these guys in the faction? Or in the war, rather. Yes, they are. So we're going to push up something like this, with just a couple of troops, and see if we can knock them out of the war. If we can, that's huge. Hello, Navy. But we need to finish up in Africa. There's Zimbabwe capitulating. That's great. So that's done. And now we are focused on Tanzania. The next one would be potentially Madagascar, and we are at war with them. Oh, that's owned by France. I'm going to order this unit only to begin a naval invasion from here to here. Well, we don't have Navy over here. That's not going to work. I'm going to assign it back into here. Yeah, that's not going to work for now. We're going to hope that France actually capitulates from taking France proper. We need to finish up this over here. There's no doubt about it. We need to stop this tank unit. Get over here. Everybody else, I'd like you guys to start attacking this Marine division and cutting him off over here. Like, get very, very aggressive here. We need to move in quickly. We gotta free this army up. Now, we've ground across almost half of France in this time. You can see that they have very few troops over there, and they're probably trying to send more, but we have some mediocre naval support. It looks like we've lost our naval support over here, but we have some naval control, I suppose. I'm going to move the fleet that's set to the Norwegian Sea, which there isn't very much of it up there. I'm going to set it to come down over here instead, like that. Patrol the English Channel and the Bay of Biscay. Now, I don't expect too much out of that, but hopefully we'll be able to intercept any reinforcements before they reach France. France is crumbling, and that's great. We knew that that was the weak point. Okay, we're going to walk in over here. We have lost a unit here. What did we lose? Tank. Okay, that's fine. So this guy's heading over this way. He is retreating, and we're going to actually come over here, see if we can cut him off a bit. And then we want to overrun this unit if at all possible. I don't know how possible that really will be, but this looks fine for now. Yeah, that's a stack wipe there. Great. So we're successfully grinding our way across France. The rest of the plan is going about how I expected, a stalemate at best. Well, West Germany we're doing okay in, actually. But the rest of this is about what I expected. But if we can eliminate France and then unify this front, that's going to be a huge deal. Okay, there we go. We're going to move these guys up into this army group now as well. That's definitely slower than I was hoping for them to take this over here. That tank unit gave us the runaround for a little while, but that'll be fine. We're going to make our way on up. There are definitely American troops around, but not very many, and I'm wondering where they all are. Planning a naval invasion on us? Perhaps. However, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to continue to execute the plan and see how that ends up going. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and I will see you all next time.